Hello. Hi,
Hi.
everyone. Hoping everyone is doing well on this Thursday. Oh, listen to me. I'm already a day ahead. Hi, everyone. On this Wednesday evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We're super excited to have you here. And again, welcome to Cannabis Live with Heather and Amanda. My name is Heather, and this is our lovely educator, Amanda. She is so knowledgeable, and we're so excited to have her here with us tonight and every other Wednesday. So, Amanda, do you just want to quickly, briefly give an intro of who you are and a little bit about you?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I had some feedback. So hi everybody, I'm Amanda. Heather and I do this every other Wednesday. 2 weeks ago we talked about terpenes, so I'm excited today that we're going to talk about some specific uses for terpenes with anxiety. But just a little bit about me. I'm a licensed esthetician, which is a skincare specialist. I'm in Texas, actually. So I am an advocate and an activist. There's a lot of work to be done in our state. And I teach cosmetic chemistry. I am a cannabis educator, and I am an ever-evolving herbalist. And I'm real passionate about this plant because of the way it has helped me and helped others that I know. And the more I learn, the more enamored I am with it. So I hope that we can share some of our passion with everyone today.
Yeah, that's exciting. And so I guess I'll just briefly introduce myself in case anyone has not joined us before. My name is Heather Kreider. I am the co-owner of Hempfield Botanicals, which is a CBD brand, and also Hempfield Apothecary, which is coming soon to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's a hub of cannabis wellness, a holistic, beautiful education center for cooking classes, all kinds of fun things. So we're going to be introducing a little bit more about that in the next upcoming few months. So that's exciting. I'm also an RN, a registered nurse here in Pennsylvania, as well as a licensed esthetician. And I am a medical cannabis card holder in Pennsylvania as well. And cannabis definitely has changed my life in so many positive ways. Amanda and I were just talking about, I'm a migraine sufferer since I was 18, and it's just amazing. So just a big cannabis advocate and activist as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about us. So let's get started. So Amanda, last week we touched on a little overview of the main terpenes, but tonight we'll be talking about terpenes that are helpful for anxiety, and then also maybe some that you want to throw into to stay away from if you are an anxiety sufferer as well.
Right.
Reverse effects.
So just a reminder, if you weren't here a couple weeks ago, or if this plant is new to you, what a terpene is. So a terpene is an aromatic molecule that's found in many plants, not just cannabis. However, cannabis has the most abundant number of terpenes. And terpenes give sort of a nuanced effect to what cannabis can do for you. So we know about our cannabinoids and THC, of course, and CBD, et cetera, and the possible effects that they can have. But terpenes come in and give you this sort of nuance, or this second, deeper, more subtle layer to your overall experience. So they are extremely volatile. They have a very distinct smell and also very distinct effect on your body. They're able to penetrate the blood-brain barrier better than cannabinoids. So that's a little brief touch on that. So when you are choosing a cultivar or a strain, when you're choosing something for yourself, and you're trying to determine, what do I pick? It's a little overwhelming, right? It's a lot overwhelming, actually. Think of it like wine or food, or even if let's say you were going to have a massage and the massage therapist let you choose from essential oils and you smell them. Kind of let your nose be your guide, because if lemons tend to make you feel happy and lavender tends to make you feel relaxed, then trust that, go with that. So if there are some aromas that are appealing to you in a particular cultivar, of course there's multiple terpenes in that strain, and that can vary from dispensary to dispensary, to grow to season to season. But if it smells right to you, trust your instincts on that, because that really is your strongest indicator for what to choose.
Definitely.
So 2020 was the year of anxiety for everyone. Was it not? A personal, let me reveal something real personal about myself, is I don't typically have anxiety. And I had it in 2020, and I was like, what's happening? Like, am I losing my mind? And this was early on in the pandemic. And once I sort of settled into knowing, okay, this is an appropriate response for the situation, I could sort of look back before that anxiety hit my head and realize that it had really hit my body and my gut before. And I don't normally have gut issues either. And so there's such a connection there. And I definitely want to get to that. But I only picked out 3 today to talk about because they're such good ones. They're very abundant, and they're familiar to most of us and very relatable. So the first one that I picked, linalool. So linalool is we most closely associated in the plant kingdom with being a flower smell. So it's very, very, very abundant in lavender. It's also abundant in some other mint families and coriander, and it's a definite spicy floral. So if you smell a lavender, it doesn't smell quite as sweet as like a gardenia. It has a little bit more of a pungency to it. So that's linalool. So it's very, very relaxing. This is not necessarily a physically uplifting terpene. This is a much more relaxing, even sedating terpene. So linalool is going to be really effective and anxiolytic or anti-anxiety in the evening if you really want to relax, and it's lovely for sedating you when you need a good night's sleep. But it also increases your serotonin levels, so that's your natural antidepressant, which of course you need when you have anxiety. It's found. We could list lots and lots and lots of strains that it's found in, and the list would be never ending. But often it's found in things that have the word purple in it, so that's easy to remember. So it's also good for other things. Of course, we could cross over and use it when we talk about pain or when we talk about inflammation or even cancer. But today, for this purpose, I think it's a really nice, especially evening or when you need to relax, or maybe even it's not evening for you. Maybe your anxiety has got you wound up so tight that this may bring you back to a moderate level. I'm going to talk a little bit about the vagus nerve for a minute, because there's such a strong connection between your gut and your brain. And that comes from your vagus nerve. So your vagus nerve is it's a cranial nerve that connects the brain and the body, and it's very significantly found in the gut and in your lower and upper and lower intestine area. It helps to sort of counteract or counterbalance that fight or flight system. So that's about adrenaline, right? So it helps to sort of counteract that. There is a time for fight and there's a time for flight, but unfortunately, it's difficult to shut that off in your body once you have triggered it. And anxiety, of course, kind of puts you in that constant fight or flight feeling. And the vagus nerve, if we could talk about the vagus nerve all day and other things besides cannabis that can help modulate it. But that really is such a close link. So there's a lot to the expression of having a gut feeling. So when you're nervous about something let's say you have stage fright, that's kind of a nice anxiety. That's a helpful anxiety. But sometimes you feel nauseous, or you have to run to the bathroom, or like I mentioned earlier, for me, I had total loss of appetite. And when I would eat something that would normally be okay for me, I was nauseous. And it wasn't until several days went by that I reverse connected that to anxiety. The vagus nerve carries all these signals from your digestive system and your internal organs to the brain, and then from the brain back to your digestive system. So sometimes when people have a gut issue, like maybe a chronic gut issue like diverticulitis or Crohn's, IBS, etc., they could use Linole, of course, internally. But what about when you have like an acute issue and it's just you're temporarily sick, a bacterial issue or a viral issue? It affects the vagus nerve, and sometimes you're depressed or you're anxious. So lots of times people think that they have a serious neurological condition, and possibly it could be attributed to chronic sort of gut inflammation. So they're just so closely related that it's worth mentioning. And also, we can sort of now understand, and we'll talk about the next couple of terpenes, how using those terpenes orally, ingesting them, could affect your gut biome and your inflammation in your gut, thus having a positive effect on your anxiety. So what do I have first? Limonene. So I couldn't remember which one I picked first. Of course, I'm saving the big one for last.
Yep.
So
we have
limonene is obviously, we all know of limonene as being found in the rind and the peel, predominantly in citrus. It definitely is found in citrus, but it also is found in other plants. Sometimes it's even found in flowers. It's a mood lifter. So the smell of lemon is so bright and so fresh, and same with orange. I mean, anything orange is my favorite smell. So that includes orange blossoms and bergamot and neroli and all those sort of citrusy flowers. That's such a happy scent to me, so that it's a mood lifter. So if I lift your mood, I'm giving you a little bit of a break from your anxiety. Limonene is the second most abundant terpene in all the plants in all the world. I'm sure. Can you guess what the first one is?
Oh, the most abundant?
Not in cannabis, just in all the plant world.
I actually am not 100% certain in the whole plant world.
So alpha pinene.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, because of all the evergreens, all the pine trees in the family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fun fact. So like juniper and cedar and pine, etc. So it's also found in these pungent herbs and foods like dill and mint, sage, cardamom. But when we smell it, when we most closely associate it with a citrus smell, I think. So because it's invigorating and it's uplifting and it's a happy sort of molecule, you can sort of just associate the way that it smells when you smell a lemon, or you smell an orange or a juniper tree or your fresh cut Christmas tree. That uplifting smell that you get from your nose, if you can consume that, it's going to have a similar effect, the uplifting, anxiolytic, happy sort of feel. But limonene also is incredibly good for your gut. So it has the ability to sort of coat in an edible form, and this doesn't have to be cannabis, but certainly we are talking about cannabis. It coats the esophagus and it coats the gut, and just helps you to neutralize stomach acid and sort of move things down and not let them come up, and smooth out and sort of soften that gastric production to promote overall healing and just a better, healthier gut. So
interesting.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? So there's a lot of studies on limonene outside of cannabis, because it's so abundant. I mean, it's in so many plants.
Yeah, I think last week I had mentioned about the study in China that I wrote a blog post on about lemon, and of course it contains limonene, and how they they did a study in a facility, and it increased productivity of their employees. It was amazing, the amount of productivity levels that increased. They actually piped it in through their air system, just lemon essential oil. And yeah, it was amazing. A really cool study. So
yeah, Yeah,
That
I
is-
mean, I love it. I have 3 essential oil diffusers, one in my living room, one in my bedroom, and one in my home. And I mean, in my spa, and I don't even use them all that consistently for allergy purposes, but every single one of them is going to have something with limonene in it because I just love that scent. It's happy without being too invigorating. It's not too much.
Yeah, I
So,
think that in cleaning products too, I always
oh,
associate like
sure.
clean, happy, like, oh, everything's clean. And so if you
Hmm.
can kind of correlate that with how that, having that clean, organized house, it makes you feel relaxed.
Exactly.
That's how I
Exactly.
associate it.
Yeah. And even if your house ain't clean, you could
Yeah,
just, make some lemonade and right. It's
exactly.
yeah, it's limonene is what's in when you buy, and Heather's in Pennsylvania, I'm in Texas, so there's differences, but you can buy like Goof Off and Goo Gone, and it's a solvent that is limonene. That's why it smells so good, but it's limonene.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's crazy. So I kind of saved the big guns for last. Our last terpenoid is our beta carophylene. So the reason that beta carophylene is so great for anxiety, primarily, is because it directly modulates and activates your CB2 receptors, just like CBD. So it's the only terpene that we know of that has an effect on receptors similarly to the way cannabinoids do. So like CBD, it reduces inflammation. It's gastroprotective internally, so in your gut, for that inflammation, indigestion, and just like CBD is. So there's such a close link between them having the similar effects on your body because of the way they both similarly affect and modulate that CB2 receptor. Most people think of black pepper. There's that old hippie folklore of if you're too high, if you've had consumed too much THC, that you chew on some black peppercorns, and that can help bring you down. There could be some truth in that because of the beta carophylene having an effect on your CB2 receptor, similarly to taking CBD when you've consumed too much THC. So there could be some truth in that. I don't know how much scientific evidence there is, but it makes sense to me. The hippies don't lie.
Yeah.
So it's a spicy scent. It's a woodsy scent. Sometimes it's a too much kind of scent. It is a really nose heavy fragrance. It is it's the terpene. I said this 2 weeks ago, and I just think it's totally cool. It's the terpene that they train drug sniffing dogs on cannabis. When they're going to train a drug sniffing dog to sniff out cannabis, which could be hemp, right? They use that terpene to train them because it's so abundant and because it's so heavy. If it's found in any cultivar or any strain, even if it's not the most predominant one, it usually makes the overall aroma heavier, stronger. Yeah. It is found in lots of peppers. Also, anything that, if you think of the warm, spicy herbs like cloves and cinnamon, hops, ginger, all of those that we love to have, like in the winter, they're so warming. And I will say that on this list, I'm looking at it on my monitor over here. Every one of those herbs and pepper that are listed are also good for anti-inflammatory and anxiety.
Yep.
So that's the beta carophylene, right?
Yeah,
It's also, but it's amazing. It's also found in lots of leafy greens and vegetables. So it's pretty impressive. One thing that is, if you're just trying to remember, hey, I know that I want something for anxiety. Limonene sounds good. Beta carophylene sounds good. Often the Kush varieties of cultivar have both. They often both have both. So that's something that I just try to tell people: look at the Kushes and see if that seems right to you. I don't think, it's difficult to say. One day we can have a whole conversation about indica versus sativa because I have such I have such a bug up my butt and a bee in my bonnet over that topic.
I agree. I agree.
I know you do, but it's difficult to say, hey, avoid this terpene if you have anxiety, because there's so much that goes into that besides that one terpene. But in general, the ones that typically give you extra amounts of energy, like alpha pinene would be one. That those maybe might not be good, but it's difficult to say, because what if it was a really high CBD strain?
Yes.
So so many components play a role in it, and I know that it's not particularly scientific, but even like in my herbalism training, if you know that a plant is safe to ingest, it's safe for humans to consume, and it smells right to you, and you have the two option between 2 or 3 different ones, you can't decide, it's the one that smells good, that your nose is already experiencing in your olfactory. Your nose is already experiencing what you're hoping to sort of recreate in your body by consuming it. So it's difficult to say, well, avoid this terpene if you have this, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's hard in Pennsylvania, just because we in dispensaries, no product, no medicine at all is out on the shelves. So in Pennsylvania, you cannot go in and ask to smell different strains, which is frustrating. So a lot of it relies on, the terpene breakdowns that are listed on the website that you can go and see when you're placing your order. So, just like, it would be amazing, and hopefully one day that'll happen, to be able to do that, because there's so much truth to that. There's some strains that I'll smell and it's, no, this is not good. Like garlic, I love garlic, but for some reason when a strain smells and tastes like it, I don't know why. It's not.
Yeah. So I think I talked about this when we did the terpenes, was sometimes if I smell garlic, it smells like cannabis to me for a split second.
Interesting.
Humulene, that's the terpene I think that's abundant in garlic. But yeah, I mean, I'll eat multiple cloves of garlic a day, but I really don't think I want that in my cannabis, especially because garlic's so much more delicious. So let's do that. But it's yeah, instinct is a huge part of what plants, what cannabis strains, what you need. It's developing and training sort of your mind and your heart to trust your nose.
Yep.
So
Definitely.
I wonder, it seems like in Pennsylvania, in the dispensaries, they could put other terpenes out. Can I put black pepper out, and can I put chamomile out, and hops and other things for people to smell? And I realize that's such lots of training for the bud tenders, and such a sort of immersive, lengthy, probably expensive process. But I mean, there are classes that you can take on terpenes, and I've taken them and I've taught them, and I go outside of cannabis, like before we all knew what cannabis smelled like, because let's face it, you and I are both old enough to know that 20 years ago, cannabis was really not that interesting to smell. And so we are all familiar with garlic and lemons and cinnamon, etc. So
Definitely.
I mean, there's a whole plant medicine. There's a whole bunch of plant medicine just in your spice cabinets, right? In your kitchen.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So
it's amazing. Nature is amazing, what it provides us and what we gain from it.
Right.
It's so exciting. I love it.
I've been asking myself a lot lately. This is like way too deep, but what does nature gain from us, from me? Like, what is it getting from me? And is it enough? Yeah. Deep thought.
It is a deep thought. We have to take care of our earth. That's the first one, for sure.
Right.
So
right.
Well, Amanda,
that's all I just we didn't pick a topic for 2 weeks from now. So whatever you decide is good, or maybe people want to tell us in the comments something they want to see. But what we have done is what is cannabis, what is hemp, what marijuana, what is the endocannabinoid system, what are cannabinoids and some of our top cannabinoids. What are terpenes and terpenes for anxiety? That's what we've done so far.
Yeah.
And
I
those
would
are,
love to, I know I have so many people that come to us with autoimmune diseases as well. So it would be really interesting to eventually talk about that. But yeah, let's leave it up to the audience and see what they are interested in learning about. And then if we don't get anything from the audience, we'll be back in 2 weeks. And we will definitely let you know. I do have a slide up to finish out the session. And I'm trying to think of let me see here. What was it? We can even talk about sleep. I had for insomnia and sleep as well. So we can go over that. So we do have kind of one maybe in the works, but if there's anything that anybody's interested in, please leave it in the comments. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't even have to be terpene related because I mean, that's my favorite thing to talk about, but that's so broad. That's really, really broad. So if it was something we missed about the plants or cannabinoids, let's talk about that. We can even sort of maybe touch on federal legislation. It's like never ending. I mean, we're in different states, so that's not relevant. But I also meant to tell you in Texas, like, you can come on down here from Pennsylvania and get your winter weather and take it back, because we don't know, like, it's like 20 something degrees. They told us it's supposed to get down to like, they told us Monday it's going to get down to like 8. Like, that's not, is that a real temperature? Like, is that even we don't know what to do with it. So come get it.
Okay, because we're like 40s up here, which we have really warm weather for this time of year. So we have the reverse.
Yeah, it was 65 on Monday, I think. So we don't know. But it was good to see you, and thank you everyone for being here.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Yes. Please make sure you check back in 2 weeks. And that is the 2 weeks would be the 24th. Yes, so it'll be the 24th. We'll be back. We'll definitely check out your comments, see if there's anything that interests you, and then we will see you all again in 2 weeks. Thanks all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.